Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Bobby Valentine Sports Show. I'm your host, Frank Rampin. Last night, the New York Mets clinched the NLDS in Game 4 at Citi Field, the first time the Mets ever clinched a playoff series at Citi Field since it opened in 2009, defeating the Phillies in 4 games, winning 3-1. But on Tuesday night, Game 3, I was there. So let's dive into Game 3 after the Mets finally move on. First time back at the NLCS since 2015, back when they went to the World Series. So what a day this was. The stadium was absolutely raucous. But let's start on the train ride in. And what's the first thing we see on the train? Of course, the Grimace train. I was just across from it, just missed it. It was actually heading back towards the Grand Central from Citi Field, so it must have already dropped off some Mets fans. Showed up at Citi Field, and I was there pretty early. They opened the stadium 2.5 hours before game time, 2:30, and for a 5:07 or 5:08 first pitch. So I got there just after 2:30. Not too much going on outside the stadium at this point, but man, it was awesome atmosphere. People were piling in. Stadium looked unbelievable. The postseason new paint on the ground was so great to see. And saw a Mets legend right here, super fan, Frank the Tank from Barstool. Saw him come in to make his grand entrance. There was a bunch of Frank the Tank chants, and he was getting his love as he came in. But we moved into pregame festivities, and man, was it awesome. So cool. They announced the entirety of the Phillies opening roster, and they got extreme amounts of boos. Bryce Harper, when he got announced, was booed out of this world. I have a video of that here. But man, the pregame festivities were so awesome. Mets fans were crazy against this Phillies crowd. And then when they finally announced the Mets, this place exploded. Howie Rose on the call. It was so awesome. And when they started to call in Lindor, they started his MVP chants before Lindor even got out there. It was awesome. It was really cool. Got the end of the national anthem here. This place was ready to rock. And one of the things that I was looking forward to the most of all, well, there were two things, but the main thing that I was looking forward to. So going into this series, into this game, Game 3 of the NLDS, the Mets hadn't played home at Citi Field in over 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks on the road. They ended their season last week and a half of their regular season was on the road. And then they played 3 games in Milwaukee in the Wild Card Series, and then the first 2 games of the Divisional Series were in Philadelphia. So they hadn't played a game at Citi Field since the end of September. And Lindor, because he had that back problem at the end of the year, he got hurt on the road. He hadn't played a game at Citi Field since September 9th. This was October 8th, Tuesday was. So almost an entire month goes by since Francisco Lindor played a game in front of the home crowd at Citi Field. And his walk-up song, My Girl, always is sung by the entire crowd at Citi Field, even in the middle of the summer, on a random Tuesday. So I knew that this was going to be unbelievable. Mets fans were getting ready for this. The whole 50,000 in unison crowd singing My Girl, and oh my gosh, did it not disappoint. It was unbelievable. But first, the Mets came out, place stayed up, go absolutely crazy. And the second thing I was looking forward to, when after this Mets crowd absolutely lost their minds when they came out. It was so awesome. And Sean Manaea, the former A, came in to pitch this game. He was the starting pitcher for the Mets. And his walkout song is Just the Two of Us. And I don't know if we can play that here, but man, it was so cool when he came out and it was just like playing through the speakers. It was great. It really was great. I was losing it during pregame warm-ups. And then I actually have the first 3 outs of this game on video here. Schwarber flew out to deep center field. There was a few people in the crowd, including myself, that tensed up a little bit, thinking Schwarber hit a leadoff home run for the second time in 3 games in this series. But caught at the track by Tyrone Taylor, and then 2 ground balls to Francisco Lindor, one by Trey Turner, and then a nice backhanded stop on a ground ball from Bryce Harper. Got things going, and got us to the bottom of the first inning for Francisco Lindor, and maybe one of the coolest things I've ever seen. But first, they showed the legendary Mets veteran from the opening day this year, Seymour Wiener, hyped up the fans on the Jumbotron before the first pitch, or before the bottom of the first, and Grimace came out. Place went absolutely wild when Grimace popped out, holding the playoff pumpkin. So Grimace with the playoff pumpkin, 2 Mets, Mets luck things. They brought them together as one. Unbelievable. And then here we go. Lindor's first at-bat of the day. This was unbelievable. I'm watching it here with you guys. How cool was that? How cool is that? 45,000 plus at Citi Field in unison singing My Girl after they cut off the music. Pardon my singing there, don't mind me. I was just caught up in the moment. Unbelievable. Had to be a part of that moment, but it was crazy. And I kept saying after this, so the first pitch of the game to Lindor was a strike. Imagine if Lindor hit a first pitch home run, leadoff home run on the first pitch after that. I think this place would have turned upside down. It would have been like that Bryson Stott clip from the playoffs 2 years ago, but in New York at Citi Field. It would have been unbelievable. But man, get Mets game off on running. Here we go. It was unbelievable atmosphere. This was. And in his first at bat in the top of the second inning, first at bat back at Citi Field, first one in the playoffs, Pete Alonso hits one oppo off the facing of the second deck, and this place went crazy.
Hit it off the facing of the second deck, the Coca-Cola corner, another opposite field home run for
OMG
Pete Alonso.
blaring through the speakers.
The Mets are leading by a score of...
Towels waving. What a day this was. What a moment this was for Pete Alonso. So notice here, I'm in the lower bowl. We actually kind of snagged a seat real quick. Didn't last for the entirety of the game, you'll see here. But man, this was such an awesome environment. First time Citi Field hosted a playoff game in 2 years. First time they hosted a game that wasn't a wild card game at Citi Field in a very long time. That's Bryce Harper grounding one right back to the mound. Manaea makes the play. And here's my next view. Had to get tossed up to the second deck here. And my man Romeo, who you see at the end here, absolute man. But what a view I had up here from the top of Citi Field. Little city skyline view in the background. Nice sunset action. Some little bit of color in the sky. It was great. Beautiful night. Felt like October baseball. 65 degrees. A little bit of chill in the air. A little bit of wind. But man, was it beautiful. And Sean Manaea was absolutely dicing. Gets a pop-up to center field here. Tyrone Taylor squeezes it. But man, he was dicing people up. And it came out after the game, actually, that Sean Manaea, prayers out to him and his family, lost his aunt before this game. So what a gutsy performance this was from Sean Manaea to pitch this game and throw an absolute gem nonetheless. But man, this place was going absolutely wild. And here, in the fourth inning, Jesse Winker blasted off. Hit an absolute moonshot to right field into the second deck, and the crowd lost it.
Upper deck, 2-0. 2-0 Mets in the fourth.
What a moment this was from Jesse Winker, and what a pimp job. He stood at the plate for about 5 seconds, watched that thing get all the way up into the second deck, land, and then flip the bat. What a moment this was at Citi Field. This was just unbelievable. Look at this swing. Crushed. And Sean Manaea was coming to the end of his outing in this one. Ended up throwing 7 innings of scoreless baseball. Only allowed 3 hits through the 7 frames. Pitched into this 8th inning. Was unable to get that final out. And Aaron Nola ended up getting pulled in the 6th inning. And when they pull the pitcher at Citi Field, this place goes crazy. And after his brilliant outing, Sean Manaea was pulled after giving up a leadoff hit in the 8th inning to a raucous ovation at Citi Field. And what a gutsy performance from Sean Manaea the night after finding out that his aunt passed away. Now, to the 9th inning, Ryan Stanek in to close it out. 7-2 ball game, Mets on top, and he blows away Cody Clemens, and that is it. Mets win Game 3. They go on top 2-1, and last night they take the series in 4. 3-1 Mets headed to the National League Championship Series where they'll play either the Dodgers or the Padres. That will be decided Friday night. But what a game this was. Game 3 at Citi Field, a day to remember, and they clinch at Citi Field the following day for the first time in Citi Field history. What a time this was. What a night this was. And my guy Romeo hooked me up the whole time. Let me stand where I needed to be able to see. And man, flooded out the gates. Tough way to get out of there. But man, what a time that was. The Mets, what a moment. Pete Alonso with the swing, first pitch he saw in the playoffs as a New York Met. He crushes it off of the facing of the second deck. Unbelievable. He's a dog. What an absolute monster. Jesse Winker's homer. What a moment that was. And the stadium, the crowd was unbelievable. Now, championship series, either going to be against the Dodgers or the Padres, like I said. And if it's the Padres, the environments are going to be insane. Going from San Diego to Citi Field, Petco Park, back to Citi Field, it's going to be unbelievable atmosphere. And Subway Series, World Series is still in. It's still in. It could still happen. Yankees up 2-1 playing a game tonight to cancel the series against the Royals, looking to make it to the ALCS. And the last time the Mets and the Yankees both made it to the ALCS in the same year was 2000 when they both made the World Series. So that'll do it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed this one as I went to Game 3. Awesome atmosphere it was at Citi Field. I'm looking to go to another one in the championship series if it's not too expensive. But keep an eye out for that video. See you soon. And Bobby Valentine actually will be making an appearance here soon. So looking to get a video with him, talk about some playoff stuff, but we'll see how that goes. So, till next time here on the Bobby Valentine Sports Show, I'm Frank Rampin. I'll see you later.